Newcastle United. Frank Lampard's Everton host Newcastle United tonight at Goodison Park as they look for a crucial 3. Well, we'll leave that one there as it's a warm welcome along to independent, unofficial, off-tube studio commentary of this huge game in the Premier League as Everton host Newcastle United. Of course, Everton fearing the drop at the moment and really in need of some points. Newcastle on a great run of form, although they've had their bubble popped against Chelsea last time out. Their first loss in 5. However, it's a big night tonight with Everton without their star number 1 goalkeeper Jordan Pickford. Szczerbakowicz comes in for him tonight. And what a game this is for Everton. They had a horrible result against Wolves last time out, a 1-0 loss, and compounded by the fact it was Liverpool fan Conor Cody that scored in that game. But Frank Lampard will have G'd his troops up, I'm sure, and will be hoping that they can go into the international break on a positive note. Myself, Matt Guy and Paul Szczerbakowicz alongside me. What a big game this one is, Paul.
It is, it's massive, and you would after Frank Lampard's very first game in charge of Everton, they absolutely hammered Brentford 4-1 in an FA Cup game, and it just seemed as though they were going to get a little bit of a new manager bounce. In their very next game, they actually lost to Newcastle at St James's in pretty poor fashion, and since then it really has been very slow going for Everton. They've got to try and pick up some points. They have games in hand over everybody around them, but they actually have to start getting points from those games.
Absolutely, and they've certainly got some tough fixtures on that list, but Gordon battling really well down the left-hand side, just clatters into a couple of members of staff there. I'm not sure whether they were Newcastle or Everton staff. I think it was Newcastle staff actually looking over there. I think he was just caught. He may have even bumped into Mike Dean there, the 4th official. Emil Kraft comes across, puts an arm into his shoulder and clatters into everybody there. Gordon, not only him, but perhaps some members on the sideline looking not to come away with injury.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's any intent there from Emil Kraft at all. Although a free kick has been given in Everton's favour for that. I think he just bumped into Gordon. As you say, his momentum just carried him off into the touchline as well. But to say, it's important for Everton to get a positive start here. The Goodison crowd can be their best friend when they're playing well, but if the crowd get on Everton's back, it can be a real hindrance for them as well.
Absolutely. And Alan and Decore just taking a little bit of a chance there in the middle of midfield. Eventually they get the ball back to their goalkeeper as Michael Keane also takes some time. Goes out to the left-hand side there into Ben Godfrey, eventually through Alan Godfrey, making way down that left-hand side, well into the Newcastle half, goes down the line in towards Damari Gray, looks to put a ball across the face of goal. He's asking somebody to be in there to attack it. Perhaps Richarlison should have been on his toes there. Nobody. Well, I say nobody, everybody was 10 yards behind the play.
Yeah, well, can you criticise Gray for putting that ball in too early? Well, not really, because he's already 5-6 yards away from the byline when he gets the ball, so he's got to put it in there straight away. It's one of those where he's just got ahead of his teammates a little bit too quickly, but you want your number 9, you want Richarlison to take a gamble there, really.
Absolutely. The Everton team making 4 changes today with Iwobi, Allen, Keane and Begovic in for Mikolenko, Van der Beek, Jordan Pickford and John Joe Kenny, who was red-carded with 2 yellow cards in 4 minutes against Wolverhampton Wanderers. But Everton have started on the front foot here. It will be just winning a corner over on the right-hand side. The visitors just on the back foot for the moment at the Gladys Street end, who are getting right behind their team, showing the support that they need in this battle around the relegation zone. Damari Gray, their top scorer this season, over for this corner kick. Going to be an outswinger. Michael Keane up from the back. He's back in the team today after his own goal against Tottenham that saw him dropped against Wolves as Gray whips it in, out swinging towards the far post. Godfrey wins the first header, comes down though into the hands of Martin Dubravka, who was quite comfortable.
He was in the end. I mean, it's a decent header from Godfrey. He does get over Dan Burn, which isn't easy to do, let's face it. Just gets a little bit of a head start there, but because he's spending so much time and waiting to get into the air, doesn't get too much direction on the header, and it's straight at Dubravka. But positive start from Everton. They've looked better in the first 4 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Newcastle themselves with 4 changes. Bringing Fraser, Willock, Joel Linton back from injury, and Kraft, Murphy, Longstaff, Lascelles and Manquillo step out. So within 5 minutes we've had a lively start to the game already, and let's hope that one continues tonight. Eddie Howe on the sidelines just telling his team to stay up here. They've been in some fine form as of late, haven't they? I do remember seeing articles in around the news saying in and around Christmas time that Newcastle were in a position that nobody had ever got out of before But I suppose their situation is quite unprecedented.
It is unprecedented, and you have to say it wasn't instant with Eddie Howe. The first few games they looked at as though they've got, the comments across social media was a new manager, all this money, and they're still struggling. But over time, you have to say the last 7 or 8 games, Newcastle have gone from being in relegation trouble to, effectively, if they were to win today, they could jump up above Leicester City into 12th place. So they'd be very much getting away from relegation trouble.
Absolutely, and it was only the end of December they played back-to-back Liverpool, Manchester City, then Manchester United. They didn't win any of those, and a little bit of pressure on the team, but bouncing back with a draw against Watford, wins over Leeds, Everton, of course, that game that you mentioned, Aston Villa, Brentford, Brighton, Southampton, before a loss against Chelsea last time out. They've been in some fine form, and all that without their star striker, of course, who's still battling back from injury, Callum Wilson.
He is, and he had a great game here in this particular fixture last season. I seem to remember scored a couple of very good goals, but that just goes to show that with Callum Wilson back in the team, Newcastle are going to be an even more dangerous outfit. So certainly for the time being, Eddie Howe seems to be getting a tune out of his players, but in these first few minutes in this game, they're struggling to get forward. Yeah,
it's been Everton who have been on the front foot so far. Looks to me as though they've settled into a back 4 today. They played a back 5 in the last game against Wolves, with John Joe Kenny playing in a back 3. However, it looks as though Ben Godfrey's at left back today.
Yeah, I had them down as a back 3, but it looks as though it is Coleman, Keane, Colgate and Godfrey as a 4. And then you've got Alan, Ducour and Gordon as a 3, with Iwobi, Gray and Richarlison as the attacking 3. So he's changed it a little bit, perhaps just to give his side a little bit more of an attacking option.
Yeah, they were certainly on the back foot for a lot of the game against Wolves, although Wolves are a team that like to keep things tight, aren't they? They had some chances at Everton, mainly through the work rate of Richarlison, who ran his socks off, it has to be said, and didn't get anything for it. As long ball up to Chris Wood, now battling here against Alan. It comes off Chris Wood last and out for a throw.
Yeah, big goal for Chris Wood in that game against Southampton last week. Needed that. It was a really good header, very much a Chris Wood style goal, you could say, but he's had a very slow start at Newcastle. You couldn't say that he's been playing badly, but if you're signed for big money as a striker, you have to get goals, so it was important for him to get that first one.
Absolutely, almost following in the footsteps of Joe Linton, who was signed as a striker, couldn't really get goals, and is now a settled central midfielder, isn't he, alongside Bruno Guimaraes and Willock tonight.
He's been looking like a different player, Joe Linton, has to be said. Did commentary with Newcastle's win at Brentford, and he was excellent in that game. Here come Everton again now, though.
Yes, they go to the left-hand side with Ben Godfrey. Nobody in front of him there as he drops it back into midfield for a moment. Alan looking for Iwobi down the left, flicks it past his man, drives down the flank, but the ball is just too heavy on the touch there, goes out of play for a throw-in, but clear intent there from Iwobi to instantly run at the full-back craft there, and good ball from Alan to find him on that left flank as Newcastle just clear their lines for a moment. Everton and Holgate just able to turn and play the ball back to Asmir Begovic, who's in tonight for Jordan Pickford. I didn't see any specified reason as to why Pickford was out today. Of course, he's been mentioned in the England squad today.
He has been mentioned in the England squad. He's not on the bench this evening, so it's not a case of swapping the goalkeepers. It might just be a slight knock for the Everton number 1, who's had a tough time of it this season, as have had Everton. But Pickford, because he is always prone to making a mistake, when Everton play well, it's almost like that gets papered over by the fact that they are playing well, but when they play badly, that every mistake that Pickford makes is just that little bit more highlighted, and especially with the way that Ramsdale's been playing recently, his place in the England team is, I would say, under threat.
Yeah, although he's like Harry Maguire in the sense, isn't he? The club form and international form have been so different, haven't they? And Aaron Ramsdale has been fantastic this season. However, there was a couple of questions asked of him last night against Liverpool, letting in perhaps a little bit of a soft goal against Jota.
That one at the near post, I think, is going to count against Aaron Ramsdale. It's one of those where he should really have covered that and the ball should have just struck him on the body, but showed too much of the near post, and Jota, as we've seen this season, has been prolific.
Yeah, absolutely up there with the top scorers this season. Ramsdale up there with the top clean sheet makers, though, this season, behind Ederson and Alisson, the two usual suspects, and Edouard Mendy as well, of course, of Chelsea. And the African Cup of Nations, of course, alongside Sadio Mane, Nampalys Mendy for Senegal. Long ball forward from the goal kick from Newcastle. It's won though and fallen to the feet of Alan outside the football, looking for Gordon in advanced position. Share just has to be careful for a moment, was watching for Dubravka, took his time but eventually came.
He did come out, yeah. I think that Share was probably hoping that his keeper could have got there just a second or two earlier, just to have taken the sting out of that, but in the end Dubravka does come out, rolls it back out to Share, who then sends it long. Newcastle trying anything to get some kind of attacking possession.
Yeah, and good hold at work from Chris Wood, flicking the ball on to Miguel Almiron down the right hand side. It's now with Guimaraes, looks for a ball, searching one for Kraft here inside the box, going to the front post, it's deflected out, falls to Iwobi, then cleared by Keane. Good move from Newcastle, good opening.
Well, there you go. You see, we've talked about how well Everton have played in these first 9 minutes, but that's the best attacking move we've seen of the game. Just a quick ball from Goodison onto the overlap for Emil Kraft. Good ball into the 6-yard box. Good defending to stop Chris Wood getting there. And I tell you what, it's a good thing that Doucouré was where he was, because otherwise Shelby would have had a tap in.
Absolutely. Goodison starting his third game in a row for Newcastle now after joining in January. One of the big money signings, of course. Got his first goal, of course, as well.
Well, we talk about how Newcastle have been playing, but of course they're missing Kieran Trippier as well, one of their other January signings, as they're on the attack down the left-hand side this time.
Guimaraes switches it to Fraser, cross towards the far post. Chris Wood's on it! But once again, the header tonight goes straight into the goalkeeper's hands.
Yeah, it's straight at Begovic, but Newcastle just inside a minute now are showing that they can be a real threat in this game after a good start from Everton. It's all Newcastle now. Just as I say that, though, Joe Linton robbed of the ball, but he was fouled, says referee Craig Pawson.
Free kick given just inside the Everton half. Just thinking of that chance there. I don't know if we're going to see a replay. I think Chris Wood has perhaps got to do better. Yes, he's travelling backwards and he's trying to angle it towards goal, but surely one of the corners.
He's not putting any power on it. It wasn't a particularly whipped ball in either, so he's got to try and generate some of his own power. It's almost like he was just trying to deflect that ball with his head, so there was little chance of beating Begovic, I think, doing that.
Matt Targett will be the man over this set piece. Of course, signed from Villa in January. But this is a strong Newcastle side with a midfield that they certainly have been in form as of late, as Targett goes long in towards the Everton box, won by a couple of Everton heads. It's nodded back in there in towards Chris Wood. Alan climbs well. It's deflected towards the edge now as Doucouré picks it up into Gray on the left-hand side as a chance for a counter-attack here as Gray chops inside. Kraft is... Miguel Almiron is there to win that one back. Guimaraes then in a strong challenge. Newcastle come away with the ball and just try to settle in possession, because they haven't had too much in terms of comfortable possession so far, Newcastle.
No, they haven't. They've pretty much had two quick counter-attacks, and they're looking to try and get the ball forward. They're not going to dawdle on it in midfield, I think, particularly as the away side. They're going to try and get forward and surprise this Everton team. But it's a warning for Frank Lampard's side, because they looked the better in the first few minutes, and now Newcastle have come back with a couple of decent moves themselves. And it's a big, big game this for Everton. If they were to lose this, they come back after the international break with a game away at Palace, then a game away at West Ham, then a game away at Burnley. 3 away games in a row, albeit the Palace game is in the FA Cup. But even so, they've got to try and get a win here this evening if they can. Yeah,
this is the last game before the international break in the Premier League for Everton. Of course, that Palace game, as you mentioned, in the Cup, which is one of those, isn't it? You often have teams battling for relegation. Do they go for the Cup run? Can it work for them? Sometimes they have a great cup run, but then their league form drops.
Yeah, they forget about the league form, absolutely. And famously, of course, there was that one year where Middlesbrough got to both cup finals, FA Cup and League Cup, and ended up getting relegated in the same season, and they lost both cup finals. So it doesn't always work that way, but certainly in terms of form, beating a side like Palace would do Everton some good. But here come Newcastle again with a cross from Willock, headed away this time by Michael Keane.
It was a good drop of the shoulder by Joe Willock down the right-hand side. Foul they're given for Richarlison, a shove in the back from skipper tonight, Fabian Schär. That's a couple of fouls now from the centre halves of Newcastle. This time Schär on Richarlison. The one before was Dan Burn bumping into the back of Gordon.
Yeah, the one Dan Burn bumping into Gordon, I can see that one. I'm not so sure that certainly Fabian Schär having a bit of a word with Craig Pawson as well, and there wasn't too much in that, I didn't think.
No, it's a trait that you like in your hold-up striker, though, isn't it? To win those little niggly fouls.
Absolutely, especially when your side in the last few minutes have struggled to get in possession, although Everton waste possession with a long ball that doesn't reach Alex Iwobi.
Yeah, if there was any thought that this game would be quite tentative and nervy from an Everton perspective, it's been quite lively so far. Absolutely, Everton on the front foot for the first 5 and Newcastle working their way back into it. But if this intensity continues for the rest of the game, it'll certainly be an entertaining watch for the neutral, as Alan just nudges into the back there of Ryan Fraser. That was one of those. He's so eager to win the ball back there, Alan. He's too eager and he's on the wrong side.
He is, yeah. I think in that situation you can't really have too much of a complaint against your holding midfielder. He is trying to win the ball back. Those are the sorts of free kicks he is going to give away sometimes. And if he's going to give it away, giving it away on the halfway line is not going to be too much of a problem either.
It will be Matt Targett once again from the left-hand side to take the free kick. We're almost 14 minutes into the game. It's still Everton 0, Newcastle United 0. Dan Burn up from the back for Newcastle. Another one of those January signings as Target goes long up towards the edge of the Everton box, headed out by Richarlison, comes down into the feet of Kraft. He just takes a 1-2 with Almiron, gets the ball back and plays it long up towards Wood again. It's headed in towards the box. Sorry, it was Byrne who flicked it on towards Wood. It comes away for Everton. Gordon then in a challenge. No foul this time for Everton. Kraft on the ball, trying to dribble forward with it as Joe Linton comes across and nicks it himself. Ryan Fraser inside. He comes into Bruno Guimaraes. Willock just in a central position for the moment, but it just goes out left and safe to Fraser, although taking too much time there is Matt Target on the ball. Somehow comes away with the ball in the end as Guimaraes shows some good composure to just keep the ball off both Gordon and Richarlison. As chopping inside from the flank, his Target gets a shoulder from Iwobi. Another one where the Everton fans will be annoyed that it's not gone their way, but they'll be happy with the fact that their team are pressing high.
Yes, they are, but I mean, we can actually see Anthony Gordon straight away going towards the referee. In fact, Craig Pawson actually blowing his whistle there to stop Newcastle taking this free kick quickly, so we can have a word with the Everton youngster here. There's not too much by way of what Iwobi's done there. He's just put his arm across a little bit on Matt Target, and it's the way Target hits the deck, I think, that convinces the referee that there's a foul there.
Yeah, arm across the shoulder that almost goes towards the neck, and that's perhaps why the foul was given. Scher is the man over this free kick, and another one. Every single time they get a deep set piece opportunity, Newcastle are going to throw down Byrne forward and aim for it. He's such a towering figure.
Everton, though, 40 yards out for their offside line, so they've done their homework. They're going to make it as difficult to get as possible to get this ball into the box.
Absolutely, and it goes long. It's Michael Keane that's underneath. This one comes out to Ryan Fraser. Volley towards goal, doesn't catch it. Into the ground it goes and bounces wide. Yeah,
tame effort in the end from Fraser. He did have Joe Linton coming just to the side of him, and I think that probably just distracted him a little bit. You can see a slight grimace on the face there of Eddie Howe. He probably would have wanted his midfielder just to take a touch there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those, yes, they haven't found their own man, but at least they've put the ball into a difficult area for the Everton defence, who have headed it out but only found a Newcastle man. They will be prepared for that, won't they? They'll try and get numbers in and around the edge of the box to win that second ball. They've done that, but wasted it in the end with that shot out to the right hand side for Newcastle. It's a bit of head tennis for the moment. Ben Godfrey wins that one. Fine athlete that he is. It comes inside towards Gordon. Perhaps a foul, says Craig Pawson. Yes, he does in the end. Gordon just nudging the Newcastle man as Newcastle play quickly.
Yeah, he gave daggers to the referee there as well, Anthony Gordon. He wasn't happy, but Newcastle take it quickly and they're over to the left-hand side.
Yeah, Target looking down the line. Iwobi's there covering across. He chops inside for the moment into Guimaraes, drops his shoulder, drives forward up against Gordon there, going one way then the other. Great tight pressing there from the Everton youngster, the local lad from the academy. As in the end, Dan Byrne goes all the way back to Martin Dubravka as Richarlison pushes up against him, and Newcastle comfortably the team in dominance on the ball as it's a good whip ball in towards Joe Linton, chests it down inside the centre circle. Guimaraes opens up the play to the left hand side now. Target's got space to run into. Almiron making a run himself as Fraser on the left flank. Almiron chops wings, he comes across, and then the poor ball from Fraser. He's overhit and goes out for a goal kick.
It is overhit, and that is a poor ball because he's only got 6 or 7 yards in front of him there to pick out Miguel Almiron, so a bit disappointing there from Ryan Fraser. Almiron won't be pleased either, having to go trot all the way back to his right hand side where he went on the overlap there on the left.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't mind a doubling up opportunity like that to present itself to you, with your winger switching sides to help the other. Can sometimes create that space to break into the box, and then you've got perhaps another midfielder joining the striker in the box, but the ball was so poor the attack came to nothing as Begovic goes long up towards Richarlison. I think he wins a nick on the ball, but it comes off Scher as well as Godfrey's caught on the ball. Almiron trying to go down the line. Godfrey puts in a tackle. Almiron's come out the worst, but the throw-in is just given for now as Craig Pawson says play on. Great inside to Gordon as Almiron gets up to his feet, but Newcastle have won it back. Great ball from Willock in towards Ryan Fraser, through on goal, one-on-one with Coleman here, just about gets across, gets a nudge on the first one, sliding challenge on the second one. Brilliant covering defending.
Exemplary defending there from Seamus Coleman, because in a foot race he's always going to lose against Ryan Fraser. Fraser is the quicker man, but as he's trying to get the ball under control, that just gives Coleman that little bit of a chance to get goal side of him and just stick his foot. He's got no way of sliding in and putting a challenge in, but he's almost running, getting that foot in the way of Ryan Fraser, and he does so without even giving away a foul. That's really good from Seamus Coleman.
Yeah, he didn't commit too much, did he? There, the Irish skipper for Everton today on St Patrick's Day as well, and he'll be keen to lead his side to some points today as it's fired into Almiron's feet on the edge of the box. Poor control. A couple of Everton shirts get their feet in the way as Guimaraes out to the right hand side. Still Newcastle on the ball, quick 1-2 into Guimaraes, another one into the box now. Kraft bursting in there. Keane's able to get a toe on that one and clear it away in toward Damari Gray. Inside to Gordon, quick 1-2, looking for some support here. Gray still driving with the ball himself, finds Alan out to the left hand side as the referee almost got in the way of Kraft there. Fired out to the left, Richarlison just keeps it in. He's up against Dan Burn now, looking to jump inside on his favoured right foot, whips it towards Decore. It goes behind him, cleared into the air, headed out by Bruno Guimaraes and picked up by Joe Linton.
Better from Everton, though. Good response. It's taken them a good 7 or 8 minutes of Newcastle pressure before they could finally get forward. Now a free kick's been given in Newcastle's favour, which has got the home fans on their feet. They're unhappy with Craig Pawson there. Joe Linton's unhappy with the foul. He feels as though some studs have gone on the back of his heel there. But that last ball into the Newcastle box, it was just away from Decore. Got to say, in fact, no, there's no studs on. It's the elbow up, isn't it, from Decore? And the fact that he sort of scrapes the face and then lifts the elbow as well makes me think that there is a little bit of intent in that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's certainly off balance as well, Decore, isn't it? His body shape is unnatural one, absolutely. The referee has just given a free kick at the moment. Of course, VAR checks everything. I don't think anything will come from that in the end, but certainly a free kick with 20 minutes gone, still goalless at Goodison. Share goes long in towards the Everton box, and that one's well over hit, and Begovic can just see it come all the way through. In the end, it's a waste, and it looks as though Everton have got the number on these set pieces.
They have, which is why Newcastle need to add some sort of variation, play it short perhaps, and then try and float it in once that offside line is broken from the set piece originally, because the last two have been too easy for Everton. They can see where the ball's coming because they set up their offside line so far away from their box.
Absolutely. Switch of goalkeepers in possession, though, as Begovic's long ball goes over everybody's head and comes straight back into Marcin Dubravka. Dan Burn in centre half on the ball. 1-2 with Matt Targett, just goes to his goalkeeper. I don't think he looked where he was passing that one there. Just
assumed he knew that where Dubravka was. Yeah, absolutely.
Had to be careful where Richarlison was as well. Absolutely, as it's played down the right hand side for Newcastle. Willock on the ball on halfway. It just goes out to Almiron, and now Newcastle just slowing the play down a touch, trying to get a foothold in possession and work their way through the thirds this time, as Dan Burn has space in front of him. Everton staying deep apart from Richarlison and Gordon. It's almost a 4-4-2 at the moment now for Everton, with Gray on the left, Iwobi on the right, and Gordon in behind Richarlison. Into the middle, 1-2. Guimaraes off to Almiron, quickly out to the right hand side, and a good peel off the midfielder there from Guimaraes. Good ball into Willock, chopped inside now to Almiron, looks to switch the play and whips it out to the left hand side to Matt Targett. Joe Linton is the nearest man. Is he an option? He is eventually. Pressed by Decore, drops the shoulder, drives past him into the Everton box, goes one way then the other. He's crowded out of space in the end, and now Iwobi can try and come forward for Everton down the right, goes for the long ball. Dan Burn in a collision with Richarlison. Referee says play on.
I thought there could have been a foul there on Richarlison, but of course he's his own worst enemy because he goes over so easily. It's almost like referees have to make a choice, because every time Richarlison hits the deck, it obviously can't be a free kick. He is trying to draw a foul occasionally, but that one I thought there might have been an argument for it. Referee not interested though, and here come Newcastle.
Yeah, good ball down the line in towards Ryan Fraser. First time tries to cross that one. Holgate comes across and blocks it out for a corner kick. Over on the far side, we'll just see a replay. Richarlison is holding the shirt of Dan Burn. Dan Burn's got his arm across him, so perhaps 6 and 2 threes.
Yes, I think so. I would probably argue that Burn maybe started it, but Richarlison is also holding on to him, so that's probably why the referee just allowed play to go on. A corner kick to Newcastle now from the left-hand side.
Yeah, Burn's forward at the front post. Chris Wood is there as well. It's Ryan Fraser to take this one. In swinging ball in towards the goalkeeper. It's a punch from Begovic out to the edge of the box. Almiron will strike towards goal. It's deflected. Who off? And Everton man says Craig Pawson out for a corner kick. We're halfway through this first half already now. Paul, over to you for the rest.
Thank you very much, Matt. Yeah, it's gone quickly as well, despite the fact that it is goalless here after nearly 23 minutes between Everton and Newcastle. Yeah, just a deflection there off Holgate as that ball was heading towards goal. Almiron thought he had a sight of goal waiting at the edge of the area, but it is going to be a corner kick now from the right-hand side. Just taking a little while for Ryan Fraser to get across. He was over on the left, and now it's going to be an outswinger from the Scotland international. In fact, no, it's going to be an in-swinger here from Matt Targett, so that's why it's taken even longer. Targett remained on the halfway line for the previous corner kick, and all the big men are still up for this, of course, here for Newcastle. And Begovic got 2 men on him as well as the ball is whipped into the near post. It eludes everyone after a deflection. Is that taken a deflection off an Everton man? Craig Pawson says yes, and it's another corner.
Yeah, I think Willock is going for it at the front post, and I think it's come off Holgate in the end. Willock jumping up against Michael Keane. And in fact, Keane wins the first header, and it comes off Holgate's knee.
Ironically, Holgate was actually trying to hide his leg to stop the ball hitting him. It's a good job it did deflect off him, because there was a Newcastle player lurking at the far post. An outswinger, though, from Ryan Fraser. Stands it up towards the back post. Wood was jumping, but the ball is headed away. It's still kept in play, though, by Miguel Almiron. Gets to the right-hand edge of the penalty area. Tries a cross in, which is easily volleyed clear by Alan up towards the halfway line. Good strong header, though, from Emil Kraft. Beats Richarlison to it, and then Seamus Coleman just shepherds the ball out for a throw to Everton.
I'm just wondering, the first 2 corner kicks were whipped in towards the goalkeeper there, weren't they, from Newcastle? The third one was floated towards the far post. Is it perhaps a tactic that Newcastle have come today, thinking that Jordan Pickford was perhaps in goal, seeing that might be a weakness of his, and then now Begovic is in there?
Begovic is better on, is he better on crosses than Pickford? I suppose in his heyday he would have been at his best days, I think, at Stoke. Whether or not he's a little bit rusty now, Begovic, having not had too much football in the last 5 or 6 months, but certainly he is a big presence in that penalty area. So it's something that, again, it's all to do with variety. Everton have seemed to have Newcastle's number in terms of the free kicks so far, so it's just a case of Newcastle just trying to mix it up a bit more.
Yeah, I only put that one forward because Pickford is quite significantly shorter than Dan Burn is, and that's what they've looked at.
The height is one thing. The other thing is that Pickford just isn't the best goalkeeper on crosses either. In my view, I think he punches ones that he should be catching and just sometimes gets himself in the wrong position. It's not an easy task, of course. We probably pick out most goalkeepers making a mistake in terms of their positioning throughout the season. But certainly Pickford just has looked that little bit more erratic in these last few weeks, just as his side have hit a bit of a slump as well. But Everton pushing on, trying to get some possession back here. Anthony Gordon is going to get furious here, and I don't blame him. He's been shoved off the ball a couple of times and the referee has allowed it to go on. He's now shoved an opponent in the back, although I suppose the issue here is that he's not really trying to do it from the side, but you see those let go as well, don't you, really?
You do. He's not going for the ball, and that's perhaps why Pawson has just instantly made the decision that one's a foul.
Yes, loose ball there from Joe Willock, doesn't quite get through to Chris Wood, and Damari Gray was almost away down the left-hand side. He gets stopped just by the centre circle. Newcastle now back in possession. There is a Newcastle man down, but Craig Pawson allows play to go on as Joe Linton finds Target down the left-hand side. A good early ball from him. Target towards Ryan Fraser. I thought there could have been a foul on Ryan Fraser. In fact, I'm pretty sure there was. But the referee just gives a corner for the header from Holgate just after.
Yeah, Almiron's the man that's down. So the referee is obviously adjudged that this is not a foul on Ryan Fraser. It's towards the edge of the box. I certainly think that 2 palms of Mason Holgate's hands go into the back. Whether he's put enough force into shove, I'm not 100% sure, but it looks dangerous, this, for Miguel Almiron.
Yeah, he's got some... Well, I'm not sure if it's strapping or if he's just wearing an additional... Well, in fact, it's the Newcastle sock, isn't it? It's got that sort of white trim on the top. It looked like he had a bandage underneath there for a second, but as we can see here, it was actually in the moment where he stopped he stopped Damari Gray, who was just trying to skip away from him, played the simplest pass and then hit the deck. So he's obviously strained something as he's stopped Damari Gray here, but you can't really see from the replay what that is.
No, it's never a nice thing to see when a player carries on for literally like 3 seconds and then goes down himself.
Yeah, exactly. There certainly wasn't any result of any foul, but here comes the corner kick for Newcastle, whipped in by Fraser. Header from Chris Wood, but it's over the bar.
Yeah, it was a good opportunity that for Chris Wood, actually. It's his second header of the game. This one peeling off his man as he comes across. I think Holgate, who's in behind him, Keane's in front. He doesn't really get above the ball enough. No,
he doesn't. He's sort of redirecting that cross without heading it down enough, I think, there, Chris Wood. Absolutely right. And no problems in the end for Begovic. You can see that one going over the bar. Everton have had 1 effort in this game, and it was on target. Newcastle have now had 5 efforts on goal. Just the 1 on target, though. But so they're certainly building up, and Everton again a 50-50 decision here in midfield goes against the home side, and this time it's Richarlison.
I think it's forgiven for handball, and I think he does handball. His arm is well in the air. His protest is that he was knocked off balance because the Newcastle man he's knocked him out the way and he's not gone for it himself.
Absolutely, yes, and that's what certainly the Brazilian was trying to explain to Craig Pawson there. Didn't actually get a replay of that particular incident on the off-due pictures that we're getting, but free kick now given to Newcastle. 28 minutes gone. It is still goalless, and it is going to be a long ball from captain Fabian Schär. Everton once again setting up. In fact, Scher's going for goal here, and Begovic saw that one coming, in fact, and by the time the ball was heading under his crossbar, he was stood comfortably underneath it. But it's good thought there from Fabian Schär.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a man blessed with great passing technique, and he also takes free kicks sometimes from closer in the box. This one, of course, is from miles away. Begovic having to keep alive to that one, and fortunately for him, reacted quick enough.
He did, yeah. He certainly would have had maybe a second of panic then when he saw that ball sailing towards goal, but because Schär was trying to measure the effort, it wasn't as powerful perhaps, and that gave Begovic that a bit more time. But that's a bit of a worry. Everton at home after 29 minutes, just one effort on goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And considering they started the game the better, it's not gone their way, has it, since then?
They've not really sort of kicked on from that positive first 5-7 minutes. It is Newcastle certainly looking more dominant now, and it's Guimaraes now. Bruno Guimaraes down the right-hand side, been stopped by Anthony Gordon. He's having to check his run, play it back into Joe Linton, who's already under pressure from Doucouré, but Newcastle move it around well as Fraser now back to Dan Burn. It's with Target now down the left-hand side, although pressing from Gordon and from Richarlison forces Newcastle back towards goalkeeper Martin Dubravka. Fabian Schär now brings the ball forward down the right-hand side, plays it early looking for Chris Wood. That's straight onto the chest of Mason Holgate, and Alan now starts to move for Everton, finds Anthony Gordon, and it finally opens up for the home side a little bit. Gordon finds Demarai Gray, tricky Demarai Gray here at the left-hand edge of the penalty area, trying to get away from Kraft. He runs the ball straight into Almiron, and it's gone out, I think, for a throw just by the corner flag.
Yeah, just about for a throw. He was crowded out by 3 Newcastle men. In the end, he decided to go down the line, but saw that there was nobody really there to attack a potential cross, so decided to just play the percentage play.
So it's going to be Ben Godfrey from this left-hand side. Not taking any sort of run-up, so I think it's just going to be a straight-up throw here, playing it short to Doucouré, back to Godfrey. He then hooks a left-footed ball up into the air, but it's got not enough pace, not enough whip, and it's catching practice for Dubravka, really. Yeah,
Richarlison went towards the front post, hoping that a cross would come in there. However, Iwobi was the only man in there. He was never, ever going to beat the ball when it's floated into the air like that. The goalkeeper's asking for it.
Nah, there was no way to attack that, really, for the Everton man. Newcastle now just playing out from the back, not in any rush to get forward. Not seen too much of Jonjo Shelvey in this game, which is always a bad sign, I think, for a central midfielder, particularly a central midfielder whose side are in possession.
Well, Bruno Guimaraes has been the key in this game so far, hasn't he, in midfield? I mean, he's looking for Joe Linton on the left. He's looking for the likes of Miguel Almiron to just drop off, isn't he, Guimaraes? I think he's been key.
He is. I mean, the thing with Guimaraes as well is that it took him 5 or 6 games to get into the side as well. We saw him making a couple of substitute appearances, and then eventually he was brought into the team around 3 games ago, as you said. But what a great ball this is from Target to pick out Joe Linton. He races into the box here, flicks that ball off Mason Holgate, and it's another corner kick to Newcastle. That's
the benefit you get when you've got a former striker that plays in central midfield. He's able to make those runs from deep, isn't he, and find those gaps in the middle of the box.
He certainly does, and Joe Linton now wins his side this corner kick. Ryan Fraser over on the left-hand side. 3 or 4 of the big men coming up now from defensive for Newcastle, including Dan Burn, as you would expect. Fraser, a bit more height on this one for perhaps Burn to attack. He gets away from him, drops over on the right-hand side, whipped in, it's headed up in the air. There's appeals for a free kick. I don't think it's a free... Well, I'm not sure if there was any kind of foul given there, but certainly the referee spotting a head injury.
Yeah, I think it's an absolutely brilliant header here from Michael Keane. I think there's 3 Newcastle men coming in on him, and he's the man that's able to win that one. Coming out in the end is Richarlison and Dan Burn with knocks as well. Head-to-head collision between Burn and Keane means Keane goes to the ground and rightly so wins a free kick. Joe Linton's climbing in there, and that's perhaps where Richarlison gets a knock as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The referee just stopping play momentarily just to check that there wasn't any serious head injury there. But once again, it's Newcastle putting the pressure on. Trying something slightly different this time with Ryan Fraser, just a little bit more height on the corner.
Yeah, absolutely, and they have got the taller men, haven't they, Newcastle, in Burn, in Wood, in Joe Linton, into that box, even than Michael Keane, who's probably the tallest man in this Everton lineup. So it's something they're looking to exploit. It's just not gone their way so far. I think Everton have set up really well in those defensive set-piece positions, given their recent form.
Well, they need to, because they know that's where one of Newcastle's big threats is. Yeah. But Bruno Guimaraes wins this side possession here in midfield. Joe Willock now over towards the right-hand side. Miguel Almiron cuts in onto his left foot. He's got 2 Everton players in front of him now. Rolls this ball back towards Guimaraes. He then takes on Anthony Gordon, gets away from him. He's stood up, though, by Ben Godfrey. Still gets a cross in. It's more height than direction, really. Headed away by Michael Keane, still kept alive here at the edge of the area by Kraft. Then Willock tries to flick the ball up in the air. He does manage it, It's a half-hearted appeal, in fact more than a half-hearted appeal here from the former Arsenal man that it should be a corner, but the officials disagree.
Yeah, not given in the end. It was a good cross on the right hand side from Guimaraes. It was deflected though into the air, wasn't it? And Michael Keane read it brilliantly. I have to say, he's had a brilliant opening half hour, especially given the fact he scored an own goal against Tottenham, was dropped against Wolves, comes back into the team today thanks to John Joe Kenny's suspension. He's answered back brilliantly.
He has, and that's what you have to do. Even sides down the bottom have still got enough of a squad to be able to drop their better players, and you've got to be able to step up when you get that chance, and that's exactly what Michael Keane has done.
I don't want to jinx him though.
Well, no, of course. I mean, the commentator's curse is always possible, isn't it? The amount of times we talk up a player and then sometimes just seconds later something happens that contradicts that. But certainly Everton now trying to just get in the face of this Newcastle dominance as Damari Gray gets to the edge of the area, runs into Bruno Guimaraes. There was going to be a free kick for Newcastle, but the referee rightly played an advantage, and Kraft now brings this ball forward. He goes down just inside the Everton half. Already the finger wagging there from Craig Pawson. No free kick given. Everton now trying to play out from the back. But the trouble for Everton is that Newcastle, when they lose the ball, there's 4 or 5 players in the Everton half, so it makes it very difficult for Frank Lampard's side to actually play out from the back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Craig Pawson, the referee, played that advantage really well just then, didn't he? And yeah, absolutely. I think the confidence and the position of the two sides, it's one of those, and it seeps into the team. And the fact that Newcastle are on a high at the moment, they're all working together as a team to track back and defend really well. And then they're really dangerous on the break. They're putting a lot of effort into this game in terms of the running stats.
And that's a good throw from Godfrey down the left, and Richarlison with a bit of a dummy keeps that ball alive. Gets brought down in midfield. Referee plays the advantage. Richarlison rolls round, but then realises there is an advantage, so he gets up quickly. And now it's with Doucouré on the halfway line back to Holgate. Everton keep possession, but that move has just lost its spring. Really, they've got to try and start again here, because once again Newcastle have flooded midfield here.
Yeah, I think Everton probably wanted the foul there, because if Richarlison wins an advantage and he stays down, there's your biggest goal threat. I know Damari Gray's their top scorer this season, but he's down the middle, isn't he? He's the man that's looking to get on the end of things, and if he's not there, there's no target.
Absolutely, and that's been the problem for Everton. Really, they've not had enough of the ball, and even when they've had it, they've not really had anyone to play it up to. But here comes Almiron down the right hand side for Newcastle, rides the challenge and then hits the deck. Alan, not so sure there was much contact. Referee was paused for a second but allows play to go on, and here come Everton now with Godfrey. His pass, though, he was just under pressure from Joe Willock, and his pass doesn't get through to Anthony Gordon. So Newcastle now back in possession, being up to 36 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. It is Everton 0, Newcastle United 0, as Everton try and make up some of these games in hand they have over sides around them. It's with Dan Burn now down the left towards Matt Targett. Him run into Ryan Fraser. But there was Doucouré just putting a bit of pressure on Everton, forcing Newcastle back. But it is still Newcastle enjoying a lot more possession, and they just seem to be a little bit more confident when they have the ball, because they have so much of it.
Yeah, they're pinning Everton back now, aren't they, into their own half, and it's only Richarlison that's really left up there.
Here comes a long ball from Fabian Schär, headed down by Ryan Fraser, who runs straight into Seamus Coleman, but no free kick. I think the referee might have just decided on that occasion that it was more Fraser's fault for the collision there.
Yeah, sometimes when you see a gap between the two players, the defender moves into the way of the striker. I don't feel as if Coleman has the time to be able to move into the way of Fraser.
No, I think, and sometimes those ones always seem to go to the attacking player when it's almost like the defender has to jump out of the way, but on that occasion he really had no chance. There was no opportunity for him to do that. Everton in the meantime did get forward briefly, but lose the ball just at the edge of the Newcastle penalty area. It's then cleared up to the halfway line where Willock is robbed of the ball. That's great play from Alan to keep the ball alive here for Everton. His pass then fortuitously deflects into Richarlison, who skips his way into the box trying to turn away from trouble, runs into Emil Kraft though, and he's able to clear it out for Everton throw.
Great run from Alan, and as soon as he got past 2 men, there was only one supporting man in Richarlison. He finds him, but he's crowded out by 3 Newcastle men in the end, isn't it? And it's quite easy in the end to just crowd him out the room, push him off balance, and therefore win the ball back. They need to gamble a little bit more, Everton.
They really do. They have to, because as I say, we've only got 8 minutes to go in this first half. And a draw, I mean, I suppose a clean sheet against an informed Newcastle side, you wouldn't say that's a bad result, but the way Everton have slumped in the league, they need a win, and Anthony Gordon wins the ball back. He does so well to get to the edge of the area, and then it's an air shot, misses the ball as he goes for the shot at the edge of the area, and now it's Joe Linton bringing it out here for Newcastle, but he runs into his fellow compatriot Alan, and it's out for a Newcastle throw.
When you see a right-footed player on the left-hand side who's got technique like Anthony Gordon has, you're waiting for that curler towards the top corner, and it was all set up perfectly until he airshot it. It was a horrible moment.
Well, it's a second collision there between Alan and Joelinton, and once again it's the Newcastle man that comes out with the ball. He gets to the edge of the D before he runs into that brick wall that is Abdoulaye Doucouré, and the Frenchman is off down the middle now, leaves the ball here for Damari Gray, and he's got options here. One of them is Alex Iwobi, who's been virtually anonymous in this first half. Not seen much of him down the right hand side. He gets towards the edge of the area, blocked by Bruno Guimaraes, finds Seamus Coleman back in towards Alex Iwobi. Square now to Alan. He's about 40 yards out from goal. Back over towards Iwobi. Newcastle keeping an offside line just at the edge of the box, but there's still enough room for Everton to work with. Although Iwobi's pass is behind Richarlison, it's behind Godfrey, and that move has been and gone for Everton.
Yeah, Iwobi has been pinned back on this side, hasn't he? Perhaps wary of the threat that Matt Targett provides on this left-hand side. It's been Ben Godfrey who's made more headway down the left, hasn't he? Supporting Damari Gray down that left flank, but Godfrey, he's made a couple of brilliant runs from defence, but it's not really translated into any sort of an attack.
No, well, the Everton bench this evening is Andre Gomez, Patterson, Townsend, Tyra, Calvert-Lewin, Ali, Mikalenko, Rondon, and goalkeeper Lonergan. As for Newcastle, it's Gale, Ritchie, Sam Maximan, Javi Manquillo, Lascelles, Murphy, Longstaff, Dummett, and goalkeeper Darlow. So it's certainly good news for Newcastle to see Sam Maximan back in the team. Well, yeah. He's back on the bench at least.
Yeah, absolutely. He's such a threat, isn't he? He only has to be half fit sometimes, and he seems to drift past players with absolute ease. He is such an enigmatic player. When he's brought off the bench and defenders are tired, he can rip them to shreds, can't he?
Absolutely. And do you think there are only a few Newcastle players out injured at the moment? As I say, slight knock for Shelvey. Fernandes has been long-term injured, as has Trippier. Is now, I think, out until the end of the season. Now, any Kieran Trippier certainly very close towards the end of the season. Yeah. Callum Wilson long-term injured as well. You think of those players coming back fit at the end of the season, then add to the fact that Newcastle, of course, do have quite a big transfer budget. It could be a very different Newcastle team that starts next season. But Everton now trying to finish this first half strongly as Iwobi slides in, trying to stop Matt Targett. Then a ball is played back down the right-hand side, and Iwobi doesn't go after it because he fears he's in an offside position. Richarlison on the deck hoping he's going to get a free kick, but neither goes in favour of Everton in the end.
Yeah, and a grin on the face there of Frank Lampard. Everton fans looking a little bit more nervous the more the minutes go by. We're 5 minutes from half-time, still goalless, so it's not a terrible position to be against the Newcastle side, where if you're at the bottom of the table, you don't expect to dominate a game. You can't expect to dominate a game. You just perhaps nick one and try and hold it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, if you'd have said to an Everton fan before the game you can draw 0-0 with Newcastle this evening, I think they're always going to try and say we want to win at home, but they would probably say that's not a bad point to have, particularly having seen most of this first half being in Newcastle's favour. Doucouré now giving away a free kick. Joe Willock heading towards the box, and Doucouré, I mean, that's a bear hug on Joe Willock. I'm not sure he's got any how he's even got the nerve to say that's not a free kick, really.
Yeah, you can't afford to put your arms around somebody when they've gone past you, can you?
No, it's a little bit too much there from Doucouré, even since the last Euros when the referees have been allowing a bit more physicality on the field, which is obviously a good thing. I think that was just stretching that a little bit too much there from Doucouré. But a free kick to Newcastle, Targett and Fraser standing over. It's probably just a little bit too far to be thinking about a shot, and Everton are using that to have their offside line just at the edge of the D, so there really isn't much space at all here for Targett and Fraser to work with. Their teammates are really going to have to time this to make sure they can get on the end of a cross if they are going to play it into that danger area in between a goalkeeper and defenders. But referee Craig Pawson signals for the free kick to be taken. It is going to be Matt Targett, floated towards the left-hand edge of the box. It's controlled by Seamus Coleman. He turns away from Fabian Schär and clears that one down the left-hand side. Kept alive, it pumped back towards the penalty area, but cleared this time by Doucouré. Still kept alive by Newcastle. Almiron's ball to Joelinton is picked up by Anthony Gordon. He does well there to control the ball and then plays an early ball and a good ball if it stays in play here for Damari Gray, who chases it down just a little bit too long. But rightful applause there from Frank Lampard, because it was quick thinking from Gordon, and he is passing at 60 yards, so we can't expect it to be pinpoint every time.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be pleased with the effort, won't he? And I'm sure that the Everton fans, a lot of them on the feet just for that seconds spell where there was a number of strong challenges in there. That's what you have to provide with a home crowd to get them going.
Yeah, and the home crowd are up for this. They're really waving. In fairness, they're making a good point here, because Emil Kraft stole about 15 yards there from where the throw-on should have been taken. Anyone who's heard me commentate before, I always say that's one of the easiest defences to get away with on a football field is the throw-on position. Sometimes, some occasions, players really can stretch that by quite a bit. But Newcastle take the throw. They give the ball away almost immediately. And just as quickly, Everton give it straight back. And now it's a long clearance down the left-hand side here from Dan Burn. But Szczerbakowicz is off his line. And he clears that back into the Newcastle half over the head of Iwobi and out for a throw. But we see Anthony Gordon here fighting for it in midfield. Does well to roll away from Fraser, then a quick turn and a ball over the top.
Yeah, I was just looking back at the tackle. I think that's where they're trying to focus on, to ask whether it was perhaps a more dangerous challenge than it presented itself. It's a strong challenge. He doesn't follow through with the leg. It almost reflects back, doesn't it?
No, I think I say that there was just intent to win the ball there. And as I say, he don't think there was anything malicious about it at all. But it certainly looked as though it could have been quite a strong challenge as Doucouré and Joelinton fighting for the ball. Joelinton backs away from Doucouré, plays it back towards target. His clearance up towards the halfway line, headed forward. Joe Willock and Anthony Gordon collide. Willock stays on the ground. He's lying on his back there, Joe Willock. Newcastle keep possession here, and Joelinton hits the deck. He wasn't fouled, says the referee. Play isn't stopped for Joe Willock, who is still down on the ground. Everton go forward now. Doucouré goes down at the edge of the area. He wasn't fouled, and then Willock gets up to his feet just as the ball's played behind him. He almost like he wanted to go for it. He's still hobbling a little bit there, is Willock, but Newcastle now on the counter. Poor pass, though, from Emil Kraft. He needed to play that in front of Almiron. He's got so much pace. Why play a pass which actually makes him slow down?
Yeah, absolutely. And Everton have battled into this game better, haven't they, in the last few moments or so? Newcastle have been sloppy on the ball when they've had the chances. Going back to that Willock challenge, he's never, ever going to win a foul in that position.
No.
He didn't control it himself, even though the Everton player went into him.
He did. A wasted cross there in the end down the right-hand side from Emil Kraft. We were around 40 seconds to go until we hit injury time in this first half. I can't imagine there's going to be more than a minute, maybe 2 minutes is the most we're going to see. But ironically now, Everton probably wouldn't mind this half going on for another 5 or 7 minutes, really.
Yeah, absolutely. They've picked up in the last few moments or so. We'll just see that battle between Willock and Gordon. Gordon goes into the air. Willock doesn't really go into the air, and that's perhaps why the arm goes across him there. Nothing going to be given anything more than that. Gordon has been at the thick of the action in the first half.
He has. He's got involved in the very first minute, didn't he, with a challenge? And every time Everton have been trying to do something, Anthony Gordon is in and around it. As Szczerbakowicz now clears a long ball, headed forward by Fabian Schär. Drops on the halfway line. Godfrey and Chris Wood fighting for it. The ball bounces away, and it's Willock now plays it forward. We are into 1 minute of injury time at the end of this first half, as signalled by Mike Dean, local referee, of course, with him being a Tranmere fan. It's not a long journey for him to get to Goodison. As the ball now down the left-hand side here for Matt Target. He's stopped, though, by Seamus Coleman, who may have been fouled as well. Referee plays on, though, because Iwobi's able to carry on down the right-hand side. Plays the ball in towards Damari Gray. Just stumbles on it, but he keeps the move alive. It's Iwobi now, puts a cross in, which is far too high for Richarlison, but it may well be that he intended to switch it to Anthony Gordon anyway, who takes on two Newcastle defenders there. Kraft in the end stands him up and puts it out for a corner.
Yeah, Gordon does a smart thing, goes down the line to try and entice the tackle, doesn't he? Corner right at the end of the half. When you've picked up for the last few minutes, you've got the crowd behind you, they're all on their feet. Great chance.
This is a great chance, and you imagine this will be the last chance of this first half, because by the time Gray takes this corner, the minute would have actually passed. Everyone is up for this one for Everton. It is from the left, so it will be an in-swinging corner from Everton's number 11. They really have crowded around Martin Dubravka as well, who isn't also known for his catching abilities. Much better shot stopper, I would say. Whipped in now by Damari, just a little bit short at that near post and headed away. And that will be it for this first half at Goodison Park. It's been a lively first half, but it is goalless between Everton and Newcastle. And myself and Matt will be back in 15 minutes.